Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. So glad you are here. Today, we're going to get into something really fun, really strategic, all about the Instagrams. I know I've talked about certain things like this before, but I am revamping it because with new features and new things, Instagram is always updating. I'm giving you all that new juice from a spiritual entrepreneurial standpoint, but we are about to start InkSpired Academy. That starts actually today. And holy crap, we're talking about 10 weeks of training, 8 weeks of group coaching with me live, all about how to create a sustainable, holistic as a whole, holistic meaning the whole person, the whole brand, you as the whole human. We are going to be building businesses, holistic businesses that sustain, that thrive, and that literally, if any social media were to upend, you could take this with you into any business, into any social media standpoint, and just have the really solid foundations to get you where you want to go. So if you are into that and you want to join in, and you're listening to this podcast, we are no longer in early bird or have no discounts, but if you do mention that you listen to this podcast, I will give you that cheeky $666 discount. If you want to be one of those people that procrastinates the last minute and you're like, oh shit, I really wanted to get in on this, I want to get in on this is your chance. Just DM me and we start today. So excited that you are here. If InkSpired Academy might not be your jam and you want more one-on-one, hands-on support, my VIP is really amazing container. We're talking about energetics. We're talking about the strategies around the energetic game, the strategic game, and the emotional game. Because all three things we need in order, we need to understand how to play all those three games in order to really create a thriving, successful tattoo empire. So for the spiritual tattoo artist that is looking for a more hands-on approach and would just like us to hone in on exactly what you want to do for the next 6 months, this is your container. This is the one that you want to be in. This is the one that really, we go hand in hand, you, me, and the universe, and we take on your business and we get into the nitty-gritty of what you want to build. And so I'd be excited to have you in. I have one slot left, which is so fun. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into this episode. This episode is, like I said, all about the strategies around the Instagrams and the features and social medias and my own standpoint on each one and how to really like take each feature and really create really utilize it as a strategy to tell your story and get the most bang for your buck when it comes to audience building. So I hope you love it. If you do, please do not be afraid to share it or to DM me. I love it when you guys do that. Some of you guys do it all the time, and I just like it melts my entire heart. And you're the reason why I continue to come back here and show up every single week so that you have all the good juice on all the good things in the tattoo world, the tattoo industry, tattoo business, spirituality, all the good stuff. Love you guys, and hope you love this episode. Welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. If you are watching me on my YouTube, I am literally wearing a California Dreamin' Encinitas surfboard sweater, and it is completely gloomy outside, so it doesn't really look like a natural, normal California day, especially in a day in March. Ooh, 11/11, just for anybody that that believes in angel numbers. You're welcome. That is on my screen right now as I'm recording this. Today, I'd really love to get into talking about how to build a soul community on Instagram. Now, I talk about this a ton on Instagram, but what I love about podcasts is that we just kind of get a little bit deeper into it, and oftentimes I'm very much, I give you guys a lot of energetics and strategics, and today I'm going to talk about more of like the strategy and obviously the energy behind it, because we all know that the energy creates the strategy. Your energy creates the strategy within your business, and that there is no right or wrong way to do things. Like all strategy really is just how it's a plan that someone had created, the plan that they made for themselves that worked, and they're just sharing it with others. And so what I love is that, like, I don't really believe there's a business that's one size fits all, and that makes it really liberating and freeing. It makes it feel like I don't have to rely on this one thing to make it work. And if it goes against how I'm feeling, like if it feels tough and hard and I'm moving against a current, then that just means that, I get to make this because business is my art and my art is my business. And I get to create this however I see fit, and I get to understand my own seasons as a human and ebb and flow in the way that I want to show up in the platforms and how I show up online and offline, because we always want to try to collapse time around the way we show up when it comes to utilizing social media for growth in your business. And so today I want to talk about, building a soul community and talking about also like the different features within Instagram, because there's so many. And I've gone over this a ton like a few years ago, but things have changed. And so I feel like I need to make a little bit of an update on what these things are doing. And this is what I teach super, super heavy in InkSpired Academy. So if you're not already in, I think by the time that this podcast comes out, we're starting the week. This is the week we're starting. And so you still have time. We have like last minute stragglers that always come in. So if you have been like, holy shit, I've been on the fence and I want to get in on spring enrollment, then get in on spring enrollment because it's going to be fucking epic. And this is, we all start like at the last week of March. So it's the last week of March, starts on Wednesday, and these episodes go out on Wednesday. So if you're feeling a vibe, go ahead and pause this episode and click the link on the side and get in while it's still hot, like, all the good stuff. Anyway, going back to it. So in my post, I had posted something about like content creating equals storytelling. So content creating equals to storytelling. So everything that you're saying, and I talk about storytelling a lot, but there's also a lot of different ways that you can tell stories. It's through pictures, it's through tattoos, it's through captions, it's through like actually telling a story. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to like weave and move and show the journey and offer different angles to ourselves in order to get people to, invest time, energy, and money with us, into becoming a soul-aligned community that turns into clients. And oftentimes, a lot of creators out there get really, really good at making content and growing an audience. But that audience doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to convert into soul-aligned clients. They're not going to, that they're actually going to turn into soulmate clients. A lot of people just like to lurk and they like to see good art. And the way that we can get people to get off the fence is it's really just like how much can they invest in you and your truth. And when you're asking someone to follow along in your journey by offering them different ways to get to know you better, they are watching the ins and outs of your life and your business, and then they begin to really like you. And what you're doing is you're creating an emotional connection where they begin to trust you. And the reason why it's so important that we get to, like the know, like, and trust factor is because the moment that they decide that they can trust you, not only with their experience, but with their, not only with the tattoo that you provide, because obviously you're posting a lot about your tattoos, but also the experience that you provide and how they're going to be treated and all of these things. Because obviously we have an industry where there's a lot of, there's a lot of experiences and horror stories where people feel like they were treated poorly, or they weren't treated like a human, or they felt like the artist was, very cocky or just not easily to work with. And which is so interesting considering that we are community based, like we trade our time for money. So we're trading services and a service with another human being for money. And so it's really interesting that people have, bad experiences because we are a service-based business. We are a people-centric business. And so it's really one of those things where we need to utilize social media as a platform to weave a story together, to keep people engaged, excited, and ready to take action for what's to come. And what's so great about Instagram is that there's so many different features to be creative in the way that you share your message and your mission and your movement on this platform. And what's really beautiful as a spiritual entrepreneur and as a spiritual tattoopreneur or spiritual creative, as you are if you're listening to this, then it just means that like you really get to put a lot of what social media is about. So like social media, yes, it is to grow your business, but it's also your own spiritual growth. It's like there's so many lessons to be learned on this platform. There's so many ways that you can show up that, pushes you to your edges and or like really like tests your mettle and sees if you can be like really brave at times and really tell the truth of your story. Can you put yourself out there in the way that's authentic to you? Can you not follow the crowd? Because oftentimes following the crowd is actually way easier than trying to have conversations that people are not having. You know, it's like we don't want to take action on the gaps of the conversations that people want to have, but yet, you know, we're like that, you know, that people are like they want to toe the line, but they're just waiting for that one person to talk about something that, you know, that resonates with them. And that could be the topic of conversation where someone's like, oh yeah, no, this is the person for me. Because we all know there's all the same styles out there. There's all these like other, you know, we have traditional, neo-traditional, you know, new school, glitter. God, there's so many styles out there, but a lot of people do similar styles. And so it's like when we are all doing similar styles, what makes the difference that makes the difference is you. It's you, uniquely you. And so we just want to really keep that in mind as you are, you know, walking through this life in social media. It's not, you know, it is a tool for your business, but it's also a really huge tool for your healing. And if you're as aware of a person that I practice to be, it's one of those things where every day, every moment, every time I feel like, oh my God, social media is sucking me into a black hole. I'm frustrated with social media, the algorithm. Oh, someone said something mean to me. It's like there's so many lessons to be had and so many ways to get to know yourself better so that you can operate on a different, you have a different conversation with the feelings that are going on in your body instead of just continuously operating from the same thoughts, which create the same emotions, which create the same actions, which create the same, you know, future. It's create the same present. It's just like all of these things that are creating, it's like constantly creating the same outcomes that you are doing. And so until we can make a different choice, we're not going to have a different reality, right? So when we look at social media and we catch ourselves in those moments where we're having a similar thought or feeling about it, and we're like, oh, okay, well, wow, I got really upset by this person who said something mean to me. I hate them. They suck, da-da-da. And until I can stop myself from actually having those thoughts and really pull myself back as the quantum observer and looking at myself as like, wow, what in this do I believe about this? You know, how can I heal the shadow within me? And how can I move forward in a different way? And when I have those moments, how can I have a lot of compassion for myself? But how can I stop the pattern? You know, pattern interrupt really quick and create a new pattern. And every time we create a new pattern, we create change. And when we create change, that means something different is going to happen for our future. But if we continue to operate the same way as we always do, we're not going to see the change that we want. And so that's what I love about social media. It's so it plays so many factors than just the tool for your business for growth, which is really beautiful, but it's also the growth in your own self. It's your healing journey, it's your spiritual journey. And I really enjoy looking at it like that because then I always know that I'm growing exponentially and I'm creating massive change and massive impact in a way on my own, not only on others outside of me, my community and my audience, but also myself. And that's a really beautiful flip on the way you can look at social media, especially if you find social media to be frustrating and hard and sometimes just annoying and you don't want it to be a second job, which, you know, it can be all those things, and content creating can be like a full-time job, but it doesn't have to be. And also, what's funny is the moment that I actually switched gears on the way that I look at social media was the moment that I actually loved being on it. I was like, oh, wow, this doesn't have to be hard. And oh, wow, look how much I'm learning about myself in the process. And oh, wow, look at me collapsing time around people getting to know me because I am putting myself out there and trying different things and, you know, really speaking my truth and letting you come on the journey with me as it's living through me in the moment. You know, I'm not only just, oh, in hindsight, I had this story and this is my past and here's the wisdom. No, I'm actually letting you watch me walk through my own, you know, shadows, my own limiting beliefs, my own limitations that I put within myself, my own blockages that I have that I've put up for myself, you know, not really realizing it until I become conscious of it. And I'm as in real time letting you guys as an audience, as a community, walk through this journey with me. And that's where we create that massive emotional connection. But see, I can tell you all of these things and I can give you all of this like, oh, this is what we do. But then we have the features and then we have all of these other things. There's like the stories and the lives and the carousels and the what's the best thing for the engagement and the algorithm and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, there is a how. There are strategies around all of these different features within the platform that you can really utilize. And this is something I teach really heavy because I love the how. Like, I love teaching a strategy and a how. Once we get the energy down, then the how actually just presents itself. And it's so wonderful. But then when you know how to use all these different features, then you can strategically put them in places and in ways that really help you and your business and how you really want to be seen, especially if you're in like launch mode and you have your launch process and you're like, well, this helps with this, and this. And then when you're just out of launch mode and you're just in your like visibility mode and you're like, oh, well, I'm doing, let me go ahead and post in this way. And then, you know what I mean? And then you also have your human seasons and you're like, oh, wow, I'm in my like, my hibernation season where I just kind of fall back and I'm just like in like the juiciness of feeling, held on my own in warm blankets and stuff like this. Like, how do I want to show up in this season? Or how do I want to show up when I'm on fucking fire? It's my summer season and I'm ready to fucking go, and let's put it out there. You know what I mean? And then still holding on tight to the commitments that you make to yourself and the commitments that you make to your business, while understanding how all of these things work and understanding your seasons and understanding how to create balance within that business. Like, these are all of the things and the ins and outs that once I learned them throughout my business, my life and business became so much more easeful. It is so much more easeful. I don't say easy. That ain't a word in business, okay? It does definitely get fun and easeful though. And it's funny, it's like, the more we learn to walk with our edges, the more we learn to walk with our fears, the more we get to do things outside of the box, the more we want to. Because we see on the other side of all that fear, that, hate and, frustration is like, it's like compassion and fun and happiness and abundance. And it's like, there's so much on the other side of all of these other feelings. And those feelings are just stuck feelings within us. It's all just energy that we just need to liberate out of us so that we can utilize that energy to create a new future. And so really, social media is so wonderful. It's so wonderful for your spiritual healing. It's so wonderful for your spiritual journey. It's really like, a lot of people are like, well, I have an assistant that does that. And I'm like, hey, do what you got to do, whatever makes you feel good. But there is going to be a moment, and the reason why we don't actually want to look at it is because we fear change. And we fear feeling the feeling we don't want to feel, like overwhelm or whatever. And that's a big reason why I always tell people, I'm like, you can totally have your assistants take InkSpired Academy for sure, but it is for the individual, because we're creating a holistic business. And when I'm talking about holistic, we're looking at the whole person. We're looking at the whole business, not just the strategy, because strategy can't get you anywhere if you don't understand your energetics, if you don't understand who you are behind it. And so with all that being said, and totally shamelessly plugging InkSpired Academy because I know today will be the last day, I definitely want you guys to hop on if you can. But at the end of the day, let's go ahead and drop into the different features. So when it comes to the different features within Instagram and how you can utilize this as a way to, like, as a strategy, as a plan to like weave your story in, and what are the best ways to weave your story into social media, which is so fun. Because when you are out there living your life, because you've got balance in your business and you've got, everything's, and it's easeful. You have a good relationship with your fear. You know how to walk with it. And when it's happening in the thick of it, you know how to move through it. And you're just like, fuck yeah, I've got the community to move through this. I got all this stuff. Okay. So tell me what are the best features to work with what, and why are they good for what, and right? So first one is, let's go over main feed posts. So main feed posts are great for nurturing your current audience. This is what I love. This is also a great way for, like, it can be good for like engagement as well and visibility, but it's definitely the engagement within your current audience now. And this is just for your audience to get to know you on a deeper level. This is like, you could post a photo of your tattoo or just a photo of yourself working or whatever it might be. And this is just like, this is mostly for like utilizing the caption space to really weave a story in, okay? And we're gonna get over captions as well. And again, like I said, like, I go crazy into this and give you all the hows and different ways you can do this via the IA, via the InkSpired Academy. But I'm just gonna give you, like, because it would just take so long if I were to give you all the juice. It would be like a 5-hour day. 5-hour class day. So I'm just going to give you the juice, and I'm really hoping that this is helpful for you so that you're like, oh yeah, I got this. Like, I know how to tell my story. I just want to know what I need to do in order to weave it right and in the way that I'd like to. So, after main feed posts, it'd be like carousels. So carousels are super duper great for engagement. And the reason why is because carousels, like if someone sees it and pauses on it and then they continue to scroll up, the algorithm says, oh, this person's actually interested in it. Maybe let me show them a different photo within that carousel. So then it'll pop it back up in front of their face, and then you'll get, another hit of engagement. And so it's like, oh, and then maybe with that photo, that person might like it or hang out a little bit longer. And so this is how that kind of like the algorithm works. And it's like, oh, let me just show you things that you like and people you like. Although right now, Instagram, I think, is only 5% of your audience, which is really sad now that they've lowered it from 10% to 5%. So engagement right now is a little iffy, but I'm sure that people are complaining enough where Instagram is going to be like, okay, we're going to go back because everybody's starting to realize that Instagram is not the place to be. You know what I mean? And which something else will be created. And this is the reason why I have a tattoo business course, and it's not just only solely on Instagram, it's all social media, because these practices could be taken anywhere. And this is like the scary part for most people, is that like, oh my God, what if Instagram dies? It's like, not a big deal. You know what I mean? There's going to be something else. We're all going to learn it. It's the semantics and the hows is going to be easy, but once you have the foundations, that's where it's really at. So, so for Instagram, I personally don't think it's going anywhere. I just think that they're trying to figure their shit out as per usual. But at the end of the day, I don't have all my eggs in Instagram. So, but I like to teach Instagram because I know that's where most of us are as artists. And so as we continue to go, carousels, we're gonna, I personally love carousels. I think it definitely weaves a story of more like you can offer more like educational stuff and offer more like, oh, like here's the before and after kind of stuff. And I just love that. I just love telling people a story of like, especially if I have a project of like a tattoo that's done over like 5 or 6 sessions. And I'm like, look at how this goes. Like, look at how it changes. And this is really so beautiful because people are like, oh, I want to understand her process. Like, people now know that I am like a printer. I like to print things out. And the reason, and the funny thing is about being a printer, and why I attribute this so much and it makes so much sense that I am this way, is because when I used to be an accountant, if you didn't know, yes, I used to be a CPA. And when I used to be an accountant, what ended up happening is that like I was obsessed with numbers. I was like, oh, 1 + 1 = 2. It's either black or white. Numbers never lie. You don't get gray areas with numbers. And that's what I love about realism. And I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm in realism and no wonder I work this way, is because I need everything to be touching, because everything is like a mathematical problem within my brain. And so I have a lot of fun with this. And so I'm like, oh, and this is actually like the story that I tell people whenever they come into my space, or I tell this online. And so they just know, they're like, oh yeah, I get it now. It does make sense. So you being an accountant actually is really not that far off from you being a realism artist, if you really think about it. And so this is like the story that I tell people, and just one of many. And this is the way I also tell people through the photos that I have. So carousels are really, really amazing. And they're great for in-depth story and education. Like if you're teaching your audience something, whether that be, teaching your audience like how they can get a hold of you, or how they can get like, there's so many different ways to utilize a carousel. I just love it. It's a great tactic for more engagement for your current audience, and it's a better way than a single photo to get on the Explorer page. So if you are looking for visibility, carousels can be the way. Okay. And next we have Reels. I have this all written down in notes. So if you're watching me on the YouTube, you'll see me checking my notes. Reels, we all know Reels are definitely for visibility. And I do have a Reels mini course for tattoo artists about this. It's like just a really easy Reels mini course. It's super cheap, super cost effective. It gives you all the juice on exactly how to utilize Reels in the best way and how to get people's attention. But one thing about Reels is that it's okay. Let me say the first part. So the first part is that Reels is a really great short form way to tell a story. It's like people can get to know who you are and what you do really, really fast. I will say that long form content is back, and it's coming back, and people really like enjoy that. And especially as spiritual entrepreneurs and intentional tattooers, the type of people that we want are the type of people that will set the intention to read a whole caption, to watch a whole video, to get in on all the good stuff, especially if you're putting out really valuable, beautiful content. Like if you're putting out content that's really speaking to your audience, the kind that's like really heartfelt, really vulnerable, really raw, really beautiful, especially when it comes to your artwork. You show how you do it, what you do it, why you do it, all of the things. You have all those things down. You have that clarity. It's like, this is a really, like, it's a really beautiful way to tell people a really fast way on how to do things. So like, I'm sorry, long form content, that's personally the people that I'm asking for to come into my space. But reels are really good hit of dopamine, and people love a good hit of dopamine. It's like, give me my quick fix. People wake up and they grab their phones, and the first thing they do is hop on the reels or hop on the TikTok. You know what I mean? And I understand that that's the game we play. And it's like, I know that life is just one big game, and I'm not mad at it. It's not something I do. I don't wake up and check my Instagram. That's the last thing I want to do. I have like a 4-hour morning to myself to become the human that I want to be, so that I can serve the rest of my day, serve my audience, serve my people, serve my clients, serve my students and all these people. But I have a 4-hour day where I'm like, I don't even look at a screen. The only thing I do with the screen in the morning is to either put some music on because I'm at the gym, or to turn off my alarm. I don't check notes. I don't check texts. I don't do emails. I don't do nothing. My shit's on silent pretty much the entire day. And I have a select few people that are off silent. So like, I'm very, very intentional with the things that I do, because my mornings are so important to me. And I know how I feel every morning after I step out of a meditation. Before I've even looked at my phone, I already know that whatever happens in that day, it's going to be fucking epic, because I've already tapped into the unknown. I've already tapped into, touched one consciousness and created connection with one consciousness, with everybody, the unified field, the quantum field that is the fifth dimension. And I've already decided and already created the feeling within me and the emotions within me through the thought of what my future is going to look at before I've even had a ping of notification on my phone. And this is a huge thing for me, because I refuse. And I want to create a future of the unknown, through the unknown, because I know that the things that I want I've never experienced before. All the things that I want I've never experienced before. And I've experienced a lot of fucking things. And so I'm after some huge, like out of this world, nonsensical kind of shit. And I'm not going to let the grams or any social media get in the way of that in the mornings and make me familiarize myself with random shit. But off on a tangent there, others play this game, and that's okay. We all have our moments, and one day hopefully everybody will wake up to it. And if I do check my Instagram earlier than normal, all the stuff on my page, on all my algorithm shows me is like really uplifting, growth oriented, inspiring, educational shit. And I'm like, yeah, that's just my algorithm. I don't really have a lot of cat videos and dog videos going on, which I think are fun, especially when like my assistant shows me, but at the end of the day, it's not my thing. And so the people that I'm trying to attract through reels and stuff like this, even though it's fast hit at dopamine and it's really great, I'm still trying to stay within brand of me. And so this is the reason why I always tell people, I'm like, reels are really great, but reels and virality, going viral, does not mean shit. Like, you go viral through something because it's some trend or something that you just saw some other tattoo artist do and it worked for them and you thought it was funny, but it has nothing to do with who you are and what you do. It's like those things will get you more visibility, but it doesn't make anybody know, like, and trust you. And so, of course, you're going to get more eyeballs, you get more followers. But if Instagram's only showing your stuff to only 5% of those people, and those people were only there for the hit of dopamine, then they just don't like any of your other stuff, then your engagement goes down, your virality actually hurts you more than it helps you, you're not getting any clientele, which is the whole main reason why we're on Instagram. It's like, who the fuck cares about visibility and engagement? I need clients, I need money, you know what I mean? And this is the reason why it is so important to stay patient and be on brand and see the future, be the visionary of your future, be the visionary of your business, so that you hold to a future that is yet unseen, so that you stay patient. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is, again, what I'm teaching you here is exactly what I teach in IA, but just so much more in depth. And I give you a lot of hows and a lot of practices. And, it's like, it's 10 weeks intensive. Like, we get into the shit. We get into the gist of it. So yes, so that's what happens. And so I'm really like, I love reels and I think they're super fun. And I knew how I used to play the game with reels. I played them just when TikTok first came out. I remember playing it for the virality game, and I got really big, and it did help my business, in a way. But at the same time, I'm also noticing that since I'm no longer playing that game, visibility is super off, my engagement's super off. I'm just like, okay, so I'm starting like almost over from scratch, and I almost wish I'm gonna start over at zero, because having more followers just means that, oh, all those people they no longer resonate with who I am, or not all of them, but most of them. And so obviously my engagement's going to go down. So it's like, we want to make sure that we're always posting on brand, meaning like what's right, what's in our hearts. And really, when we play that game, and because a lot of times we think of that game, we think of that game as like the long game. We think of it as like, oh God, this is the long game. I need short and quick and fast. But that's what reels are. They're short, quick, and fast hit of dopamine. But that's not our business. Our business is not a quick hit of dopamine. That's not what I want. I don't want to be turning and burning tattoos every single day, 15 different clients a day, barely making it, because they're just like hot nickeling and diming me at the end. They're like, well, wow, I could have got this for $100 over here, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh God, like, no, thank you. Like, I work 3 days a week. And I only do 2 tattoos a week, really, because when I think about it, like, 1 tattoo is a full tattoo, and then the other 2 days that I work is 1 big tattoo on 1 person. So I only really meet two new people a week. Yeah. And yeah, that's what I do. And I sustain. I make 20K. I make anywhere from 17 to 24K a month on that. So it's like, I'd rather, quote unquote, play the long game. But honestly, once I started playing this game, which was probably 7 to 8 years within my business, when I finally started really understanding what the long game meant, and 3 years later, I'm doubling everything. And so I really don't think it's the long game. I just think people think it's the long game because there's nothing happening right now. But we gotta like, we gotta like lengthen our time horizons here, babe. So if you're not lengthening your time horizons and you're more of a reels person for hot hit dopamine, then yeah, you got to ask yourself, like, why are you in this business? If you're in this business for a season or for a lifetime. It's something I love to ask my people, my students, a ton. But not hating on the reels, although it sounded like that. There's no hate. I love reels. I love sharing people my story. I love giving education via the reels, because you can give fast, quick education. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of tattooers that really enjoy it, like Mike Stocking. He's amazing. I love him as a person. And the fact that he gives just so much good advice on Procreate, it's so rad. Like, I love him, and it's wonderful. And there's so many other people that do the same thing, but don't do it unless it like speaks to your soul. Like, I will only share Procreate tips even though they're really, really great for engagement. Like, I know I'm gonna get really good engagement and a lot of likes and a lot of follows based off a Procreate tip, because it's educational and people want to know. But I don't do it based off that reason. Like, I don't do it because it's exhausting and it's not coming from my soul. And all those people that like that doesn't mean that they're actually coming and getting tattooed by me. So I can't understand, I can't see that conversion. I'm like, oh, which reel was the reel that made you step over the line and want to come get tattooed by me, And so for me, I do everything with intention. And so if I'm making a reel based on education, I'm doing it because I want to. And because I know, like, I'm like, wow, this is so good. Like, I can't believe I learned this. I want to share this. Like, because I don't believe in competition. I believe only in community. And the less separation I have between you and I and the thing that I want, it just comes to me faster. So it's like, that's how I think of life. That's not how that's how it is. That's science. That's just science. Which is funny because I'm actually writing a lot of I'm rewriting InkSpired Academy. So to any of my students that are listening right now, you're getting such a treat. Oh my God. Like, I'm going into science because I've gotten a few certifications through Dr. Joe Dispenza over the last year, or actually not even last year, like the last 6 months. And so, like, I've gotten 2 of them from him, and then other people that are neuroscientists. I'm just trying to understand, like, law of attraction and manifestation. And now that I understand it so well, I'm like, oh my God. And when you get to kind of understand the thing, it becomes so much more potent for you. So this is something that I'm learning: neuroscience, chemistry, biology, epigenetics. Like, I'm learning these things for fun because I want to understand how the brain works so that we can reprogram it and really become the visionary of our business. And so I'm actually writing this into my program. So all of you that are listening out there that are on it, you're in for a real treat, because we are going to get into the science of how energy works, why it works, the science behind it. It's not just like woo-woo, which I love spirituality. I've always believed in spirituality, but spirituality is just science that's has yet to be measured. And right now science is growing and growing, and so more things are getting measured, like energy and, energy spaces, even like your hormonal, like oh my gosh, I just forgot the word of it. It's like your energy centers, like your chakras. We call them the chakras, but they're called energy centers. They all have different brains and why they create different energies within our bodies. Like, it's like really scientific and wonderful. And I'm just like, okay. And when you get to know that stuff, it's really wonderful. But anyway, I digress. Great thing with Reels, short form, fast way of storytelling. You get to go in, it's fast way, you go in there, you tell people what's going on. You give them like a before and after with your tattoos. That's always a favorite. You teach someone something. I love Reels for inspiration too. I'm like, oh, like, I can't believe this is my life. Like, let me just take you on this journey and all the things that I've created. And people are like, I love it when people are commenting. They're just like, fucking congratulations, Reese. Like, that's awesome. And I'm like, thanks, man. Thank you for not separating us, because it's not about separation. It's not about me trying to separate myself from you or make myself better or whatever. It's about trying to inspire you that we are very much the same person, and I'm no different than you. And all I'm trying to show you that is everything you desire, whatever you desire, is possible. And these are the things that I desired, and I've created them for myself because I was brave. And I want you to be brave too. And so that's kind of how I utilize Reels. I just love them for that. But Instagram has decided that they're going to start focusing on photos again, because they were a photo app. And now that they've realized that, oh, okay, YouTube Shorts and TikToks, and now Facebook Reels is out. This is a brand new thing Gary V is talking about. And of course, everybody's on that new. So I guess they're realizing that we don't, we're going to go back to focusing on photos because we know how much you miss that. So I'm not sure what that happens, what that looks like. I have been noticing a difference in engagement right now as of March of 2023 on that. So that's that. Let's keep it moving. Okay. So for lives, lives are great. I think if you can go live as a tattoo artist and not just going live as you're tattooing, I think it's really weird when people are like, oh, let me tattoo someone while answering questions. I don't really find that to be very engaging for me. I think that that's actually kind of messed up for you and your client. So when I see people doing that, I'm like, I see the appeal. It's like, oh, I can answer questions. I can multitask, but really, can you? Nobody can multitask. Just ask any scientist. You can't multitask. There's going to be percentages of your brain that have to be focused in different parts, and that means 100% is not focused on one part. So that just means that maybe you're not doing as great of a job as you might be doing if you were just to focus totally. And that's also meaning your client, if they want to talk and stuff like this is always a great reason why you're just hey, if you're not a big talker, you're just hey, I'm not a big talker, so I'd like to really focus on this because I want it to be the best tattoo you ever have. And they're going to be like, I want it to be the best tattoo I ever had too, so I'll just be quiet over here and watch my TV show on my phone. So one thing I like about lives is that, not everybody, I always say this, not everybody has the labias to put themselves out there in a real raw way. And so this just means that there's a ton of opportunity here in the lives, because a lot of artists aren't going live to be face-to-face and talk to you about something. And actually, I've gone live 4 times this month, and it's the most I've ever gone live in a month. And I've noticed huge shifts, people collapsing time around people getting to know me, collapsing time around, people really being like, oh my God, I found this, I saw this, and I purchased this thing. And it's like, oh wow, or I saw this, and oh yeah, I love everything about what you do and what you say. A lot of my clients come to me, and the reason why they're so soulmate is because they love all the educational shit that I have for tattoo artists. Even though that's not their content, it's not made for them, my tattoo collectors, they love it because they get an insight on who I am. And so it's like, oh wow, like I don't need to separate these parts of myself. I don't need to make another new Instagram so that only my artists see this and only these people see this. It's like, no, like my art and me are the same. I'm one person. I'm a brand. I'm the brand. And all of the art and stuff that comes outside of me. Now, if you have something like specific, like merch, like actual merch, I'd say that like make that a different thing. You can sell sometimes, but I do know and understand that it is better to have like that as a separate thing, especially if it's a tangible thing. But since I'm creating services for people, I'd say keep it all in one. Just a little FYI. All right, let's get into stories. So stories are for converting. Stories are really just used to give people a really easy way. It's like you have clickable links in stories. So just utilize those as like, oh, you're turning a bystander, a follower, a community member, in your audience. And you're like, okay, I want to be a client. So this gives them a really easy way to either get on that wait list or get on that emailing list or get on, send that email or whatever. So stories are really for giving the behind the scenes. It used to be for like educational, like giving like mini classes or courses and stuff. And I used to do it that way, but now I use my lives and my carousels for that kind of stuff. And now I really just like, I'll keep it to a minimum. Anything that's live for me on the stories, I'm like, yeah, sure, that'll leave in like 24 hours, no big deal. And then I'll have like, basically trying to get people to click and go into somewhere else. Like that's where I'm funneling you. That's all Instagram is. It's just a funnel to the thing that you are asking people to invest their time, energy, and money in. That's all social media is. That's all any social media is. It's all about funneling. And if you can do it really well, then you obviously have a beautiful business on top of that. So this is all that is. So stories are really great for converting. This is where you move people to take action. That's where stories is. You have the behind the scenes, you give people insights of your life, and then you're like, oh, hey, by the way, this is happening. You're invited. Do you want a piece of this? Do you want some of this? It's basically where this is. Here's the easiest way to do this. Here's the link. This is where you do that. You know what I mean? Like that's what Instagram is for. We're here to let people get to know us. They like us, they trust us, and then they purchase something from us because we're a business. As entrepreneurs, we're in a business. We're not content creators. That's not what we do. If we were content creators, it'd be a totally different strategy. I would offer you a totally different strategy. And I've done the strategy of content creators, and that shit is hard. That shit's really hard. I'm like, holy shit, that is a lot of work, especially when I have a full-time job on the side of that. You know what I mean? So we're not content creators. We're also not fucking immature teenagers either. We're not here for the likes and the follows. We're not here for validation. That's not the point for us as entrepreneurs in this business. So there's a difference in strategy for all different types of what business you are in. An influencer, a content creator, a teeny bopper, you know what I mean? Like we all play this game like high schoolers we all play this game like teenagers in high school. Like, oh, who's got the most popularity contest? Like, fuck that noise. Like, I understand it because I used to play it and I'm really good at playing the popularity contest. I will win because I'm very competitive in that way. And so it's like, yeah, but great. Now I've got all these followers that it doesn't mean shit. Like, I have mentors who had 3,000 followers and making $3 million a year with an email list of 1,000 people. $3 million a year with an emailing list of less than 1,000. So it's not about the numbers being super high. It's about the quality of what you are bringing in and the know, like, and trust factor of how these people just love you so much that they're pretty much willing to buy fucking anything from you. And this is the community that we build through, these are the meaningful relationships that we build through these platforms. And that's what we utilize these platforms for, is to make these meaningful relationships, to build community, and then to go off into the, and then offer people a space, be like, hey, do you want to join in on this fun? I'm inviting you to this party I'm having, AKA a tattoo experience. Do you want in on it? Does this look like something you'd want to do right now? It's only opening for this length of time. I urge you to do it now if you're feeling a vibe, but if not, no big deal. I'll open it up in a few months again, maybe it'll feel better then. It's like, that's basically all we're doing. We're just inviting people into fun shit. but we got to make it look fun. And so we got to treat it like a game. Okay, and lastly, we're talk about captions. Now, captions are like the new hashtag. Captions are pretty much outdated. Hashtags are pretty much outdated and unnecessary. I still use like 7 hashtags these days. It used to be like 30, then it went down to 15, and now it's like 7. And now Instagram's like, you know what? We're just gonna make the entire captions SEOs, which is search engine optimization. So if you are not taking advantage of your caption and you're showing me a skull tattoo, you post a picture of a skull tattoo, and then in the caption you say, skull tattoo. Oh, thanks. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't really give insight and doesn't offer a lot of SEO. You have like 100 something character, not even like 3,000 characters you can have in a caption. It's a lot of characters. It's a lot of letters. It's a lot of letters. And so that means you can utilize it as a space to really speak your soul. And the more you speak your soul, the more it goes into the SEO realm of the algorithm and the fucking, energy of the internet that is all around us, and the Wi-Fi that is all around us that we just can't see, but we believe it's there because it's obviously working. And so when we can put ourselves out there and utilize the terminology that we know others that utilize that same terminology in their everyday talk and their everyday speak, and then all of a sudden our stuff shows up in their face, you're going to want to utilize your captions. I know a lot of artists like have a hard time utilizing their captions. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. Again, a huge thing in storytelling. That's what I teach in InkSpired Academy. Huge. Like, I know how hard this could be. And so I give you a really fun formula, and then we practice, and then we do the thing, and then we get into it. And this is like why I love community too, is because it holds you accountable. It's like, all right, well, now you know the thing. Now you got to put it into practice, and you got to know it by heart. Because once you know it by heart, that means you've embodied the thing. And that means now that it's no longer hard. All the strategies just come to you. You're like, oh, wow. It used to take me forever to write a caption, and now I just like fucking go, because I just trust. I'm like, yeah, this is alive for me. Oh, I know these simple little strategy hacks for when it comes to captions, but other than that, I'm just going to speak my truth, and I'm like, let's fucking go. I got a hook, I got a line, I got a sinker. You're coming in hot. You're so excited. You're reading the thing, and you're like, fuck my life. I want to be in this energy. I want to be in person with this person in some capacity, and that's how I sell out everything. My programs, my in-person seminars, my seminars online, my master classes, my tattoos, when I'm traveling tattooing, like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm creating. And this is how I utilize social media in order to do that. And so that's your podcast for today, you guys. I really hope that this was really helpful. I know this was more of a strategic podcast for today. I felt like it was necessary and needed. And I just wanted to give you guys the new updated new of all that's going on in the world of Instagram, especially when it comes to social media, because I know that most of us artists are out there doing the thing. But at the end of the day, really, it's all about just being yourself and telling your truth and just being true to who you are, and utilizing the space for that. Because at the end of the day, those are the people that are going to invest the money, because as a luxury, tattoos are a luxury. And so we got to look at it as like, who am I really wanting to attract? Do I want to attract a luxury buyer, or do I want to attract like the type of person that's just like one and done? Like, I'd rather create diehard community and relationships with my clients who come back for more. Like, every time I book out my books are almost halfway booked out already, because I give my current clients, first come, first serve. We always contact them first on purpose before we contact we let anybody else new in. And normally it's always my clients that are like, yeah, put me back in. Yeah, let's get another tattoo, or, whatever else it might be. And so it's like, I'd rather create die-hard relationships with people that come back over and over and over again and continue to buy and continue to invest in me and invest in what I have to offer, instead of always trying to get new people. Because at the end of the day, you're more likely, and this is just psychologically and in marketing business 101, you're more likely going to make more money by having repeat clients. And that's where it's at. And so that's where we create the meaningful relationships. And that's where you create sustainability within your brand, because people are coming back for more. and you begin to find safety within your business because of that reason. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please let me know. Shoot me off in the DMs. Feeling hot, feeling good, feeling lit, feeling light. You're like, yeah, this is fucking getting me so juiced and excited, and I'm gonna join InkSpired Academy because I want to be a part of this energy. And if you do end up trying to join InkSpired Academy, I know that this is probably going to be the the day we start. I will give you the cheeky discount that I've been giving everybody. I actually stopped it. It stopped like 2 weeks ago. When you guys hear this, it stopped like 2 weeks ago. And so if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, fuck, I want in, I will give you the $666 off. So you got to say that though in the email. You got to be like, Reese, I listened to your podcast. I need this in my life. Okay. So yes, I love you guys so much. If you've listened to it, I'm going to offer you this gift because as my podcast listeners, you guys are like die hard. And the fact that you listen to my psychobabble for 45 minutes or longer, I just love you for it. And I want to just offer you that gift to you. But to everybody that is already in, I love you and I can't wait to see you and meet you. And those that are not yet ready, it is okay. You follow your heart and and just follow the intuitive nudges within your soul, and those will always take you to the right spot because you're always on the right path and your success is inevitable. So I love you guys, and I will see you in the next podcast.